And with that, welcome to Divinity 2 Original Sin Definitive Edition. It just came out yesterday, and I was planning to continue my Divinity run with the Definitive Edition, which changed a lot of things. I will go over what exactly changes in a second. However, I noticed one thing. I can't click the continue button. If we go to load campaign, we will see it is all incompatible. And yeah, I looked it up on the internet, and of course, old save files are not compatible with the Definitive Edition. And that is a major turn down. I was just going to start recording right now, but yeah, turns out I can't, since it's not compatible, which sucks big time. Really, really big time. Now, I'm not quite sure if what I'm gonna do now. If I want to start a new Definitive Edition run, I'm definitely gonna do that, probably. But what am I going to do with the old run? Do you want me to continue it, or do you want me to start a new one? Please tell me. I will not upload any Divinity videos in the meantime, because, well, I don't have any recorded so far. What you've seen on Friday, yesterday, was the last of the pre-recorded episodes I had. And yeah, that's it with Divinity for now. Anyway, let's leave that decision to you. I will wait a few days to see if there are some comments. Tell me what you want. Do you want me to continue the old Classic Edition, finish the run? We are, after all, in the last chapter. I think it's gonna take, what, like 10 to 20 episodes until we're through? Or do you want me to start a new run in the Definitive Edition? Anyway, let's go over what the Definitive Edition actually does. Now, the changelogs are quite long. I will post a link to the changelogs in the description of this video. You can find it there. It is over 50 pages. It's 52 pages long. So quite a lot of stuff has been changed. Just a small warning, though. A lot of what has been changed regarding to story, dialogues, and scripting is, of course, a spoiler. So if you don't actually know the story of Divinity, then you might not want to check out the story, dialogues, and scripting changes. However, up until page 14, the changes, yeah, you can look them over without spoilers, actually. So let's go over what actually is new. First of all, Arena, Hot Seat Gaming, all of that stuff multiplayer has been changed, Arena mode at least. Yeah, I don't really care about that, so whatever. You can read it in the changelog if you want. Apparently it has been optimized, and there should be better performance. I never had performance problems with Divinity Original Sin. Maybe when there was a lot of fire on the screen I had some frame drops, but nothing major actually. But from what I read, many people have complained about performance, so I guess that's a step up. They have changed a lot of the textures, like the fire textures and the textures of the surfaces on the ground, so that should save a lot of FPS. Then they supposedly have changed the journal. It should be they have changed it to full screen. I don't know if these changes in the changelog just apply to the console edition or to the PC edition as well. But we will start a game in a second and just check it out, see how the interface looks. Yeah, the journal is bigger now, and they have actually separated the lore section from the quest log. So all of the stuff that you see in the quest log now just is information about the quest, and the lore is separate. Hopefully they've also fixed all the bugs with the journal, but I had a lot. Next up is the inventory. They have also changed that to full screen, apparently. Now you can multi-select items and give them to other players in your parties directly, not have to give every single item to them, which was a nuisance. I've complained about that a couple times in the game, in the playthrough. Yeah, the inventory management was really, really annoying. It was quite the nuisance. I hope they have made that a bit more user-friendly. Next up is a skill window. They have made that full screen also, and made memory slots immediately visible, which they have been in the PC edition anyway, so I guess that only applies to the console edition. Dialog windows redesigned so it doesn't obscure what is going on in the game. Well, however they did that. We'll check it out in a second. The map has been changed to full screen also. And that's it. Now, let's continue to the design part, which includes balance changes. And these are, in fact, major. There have been major balancing changes. Let's start with the first one. Economy. Updated item prices. Unique items in vanilla are too valuable. The prices are now more in sync with legendary items of the same level, but still higher. Armor prices now reflect their utility. In vanilla, there is too much of a price difference on armor pieces that actually give a same amount of armor points. Whatever. Yeah, I don't... The economy might need a revamp because, as I've shown you, you are pretty much... You have access to unlimited money if you just pickpocket. So they should have done something about that, because money is not really a big deal. You can buy whatever you want. Just pickpocket a few things and there you go. You have unlimited money. Balancing. Reduced damage of some 3 source point skills. In vanilla, Arrow Storm, Hailstorm, Meteor Shower, and the storms are frequently cited as win buttons that lead to one-shots. There was room for nerfing without making them any less fantastic. So they have been apparently nerfed. I have never used much of them. I actually said in the playthrough that I don't like Arrow Storm. And yeah, Arrow Storm is a spell that shoots 16 or so arrows in a cone in front of you. And if you're standing right in front of an enemy, you can make it so that all 16 arrows hit this one enemy, which deals insane amounts of damage, of course, but that would require you to be in melee range. Yeah, I mean, of course it's strong, it might be very useful against bosses, but I have not really been relying on them at all, so I don't really care about those nerfs. And the other 3 source points spells are all mage skills, and yeah, you know how I feel about magic damage. It is physical damage is just far superior to any magic damage, just because of the resistances in the game. Next up, we have removed stat jump at level 13. Slow down the curve by 3%. In vanilla, there's an artificial stat jump at level 13 meant to separate lower RC content. I guess that is Reaper's Coast content from upper Reaper's Coast content. This jump is too noticeable for the players since Reaper's Coast ended up having a very open flow. Remove this jump and analyze the other stat jumps at level 9, 16, and 18. Yeah, that connects to what I told you when we were in Reaper's Coast. It is rather important that you do the content in the right order. However, the game does not exactly tell you what the right order is. In my first playthrough, I went through in the wrong order, and so I had a very hard time doing some of the content, and after that I did other content which was supposed to have been done earlier, which I didn't know, and I had a very easy time doing that then. So yeah, I think that's a good thing, removing that stat jump. But nevertheless, you should probably still do the Reaper's Coast content in the right order, then you wouldn't have even noticed the jump. Okay, next up we have revised persuasion difficulties all across arcs. Okay, we haven't really been to arcs, so guess you have to take my word for it. There have been, or let me just read. Persuasion in arcs is unproportionally hard compared to its result. We fixed that. This includes making tech persuasion moments easier, which rewards tech usage. So yeah, well, persuasion checks in arcs have been difficult and they have lowered their difficulty. Yeah, nice to have, but whatever. Next up, we have fixed damage from heal, missing some damage bonuses. Healing can damage the undead and characters with decay. However, in that case, the damage dealt now also will receive bonuses from warfare, and it now can crit if you have the savage sortilege talent. That is nice. That allows for healing based and decaying touch based builds. So you can kind of make like a shadow priest or whatever, I guess. That puts points into warfare and deals damage with healing. Sounds interesting. I might give it a try. Next up, we have reduced damage bonuses on non-unique weapons. Close to the end of the vanilla game, bonuses on simple rare weapons are getting so high that they start overtaking unique weapons. We fixed this without making rare weapons less interesting. They still have bonuses, but the curve was improved. Yeah, like I said, it is it has always been much better to just buy the strongest weapon you get access to when you level up, because it almost always is better than your old weapon, just because the damage difference between levels on weapons is so high. And unique weapons usually... Did I ever use really unique weapons? It doesn't really matter if they were unique or not unique. It just was the only relevant factor was the level of the item. If the level is your current level, then it's good. If not, then it sucks. It was that simple. Next up, we have Torture Talent now allows applying damage statuses through armor. Burning, poisoned, and bleeding are now applied on top of armor. This makes these statuses useful again once you don't have armor anymore. I don't really understand the last sentence. It doesn't make any sense. This makes these statuses useful again once you don't have armor anymore. What? The Torture Talent used to, I think, increase the duration of these statuses, burning, poison, and bleeding, which was kind of pointless in my Lone Wolf playthrough. But the way they changed it now is very interesting, because status effects were rather weak due to the fact that you couldn't apply them while the enemies had armor on. So most of the time, or most of the fight, you couldn't actually apply those statuses. Now you can actually do that. That also might open the way to new builds. I mean, those builds have existed, but maybe they are now actually viable. I have never really played with burning, poison, or bleeding much. In any case, I think that is a nice change that makes Torture actually an interesting talent. And a whole build might revolve around that talent. Next up, we have added optional teleportation counter to items with teleport use action. For planar gateway skill, we reduced the AP cost without opening the possibility of infinite turn exploit. We can do this because we now have a maximum number of teleport use actions on items. Yeah, I have not once in all of my time playing Divinity used planar gateway. It is, I like to think of it like the Warlock skill from World of Warcraft that Warlocks had in like, what was it, Lich King or whatever? Maybe they even have it now. Whatever, you can open a gateway and travel between those gateways to get some extra mobility. Yeah, I guess. I've never played a build with that skill, so I can't really say anything about that. But now comes the biggest and most important change to at least my playthrough, which, well, I can't continue in Definitive Edition. But anyway, Lone Wolf abilities and attributes are now capped at normal caps. Currently, Lone Wolves can increase attributes and combat abilities through soft caps of 40 and 10 points respectively. In Definitive Edition, this is blocked. Double point bonus only brings points to the cap and not above it. That is huge. It is completely huge. It is an immense nerf to Lone Wolf. I've been lately considering to add mods to my run-through, to my playthrough, and if you decide that you want me to continue the old one in the Classic Edition, I will, because Lone Wolf is ridiculously overpowered. And the reason why Lone Wolf is so ridiculously overpowered is because their caps of ability points are not 10, but 20. The sole reason why Lone Wolf is so ridiculously overpowered is because you can get Warfare or all of those other percentage-based modifiers, or rather multiplicative modifiers, up to 20. Because the way that those stats scale is not linearly. It is the more stats you have, the better they get. And if you can get them to 20, this is an insane damage boost, which led to those one-shots I regularly did with Lone Wolf. That's gone now. Lone Wolf only gives you more points, a bit more armor, and 2 more action points. That's it. So actually, I mean, you get a lot more attribute points and ability points to spend, but there's no place to put them actually. I mean, at least in my builds. Where do you want to put those points? Two-handed Warfare. Warfare, especially. Warfare is what makes the damage output so incredibly sick. Now, you can only go to 10 points. where do you gonna put all of those extra points? They are essentially useless unless you go for a magic build where you can put them in different magic schools. But yeah, Lone Wolf has been significantly nerfed, and maybe even to that point that Lone Wolf is now worse. Playing with Lone Wolf makes you weaker than playing with a 4-player party. Maybe. That remains to be seen, but it could actually be, because that nerf is huge. But it was called for. Lone Wolf had to be nerfed, and yeah, the question is this really the right way to do it? I mean, of course, those caps had to be for Lone Wolf too. That is definitely a must-have and a good change. But I feel like you now have, when you play Lone Wolf, you now have way too many points that you can't spend on anything useful. So yeah, maybe they should have changed it a little bit differently, done something about those extra points. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, I'm very curious to see how Lone Wolf plays in the Definitive Edition. It will play significantly differently from the Classic Edition, and it will be significantly harder. That is for sure. Next up, we have totems now have intelligence scaling. Totems now gain intelligence points when growing in levels. This makes it so that the damage they deal follows the norm of the endgame. Yeah, totems, or the whole summoning build was very limited. It had a cap that you reached when you maxed out summoning, because those summoning stuff. The problem with summoning is, like I explained in the playthrough when I changed to archery instead, is that it does not scale with intelligence like other builds scale with finesse or strength, for example. And you could only really, to increase your totems, the strength of your totems, you could actually only put points into summoning. But once you reached 10 summoning, you could no longer increase the strength of your totems. So after that point, your totems become less and less effective and completely worthless in the end game. So that is a good change. The question is, are they viable now in the end game? After this, after you hit the level where you can have 10 points in summoning. Is summoning viable now? Maybe. We'll see. Next up, we buffed underused skills. Petrifying Touch damage increased by 33%, Sucker Punch damage increased by 10%, Mosquito Swarm cooldown reduced by 3 turns, increased damage of Infect, and the increased duration of Door to Eternity. Yeah. Are those spells now gonna see more use? I don't think so. I mean, let's start at the beginning. Petrifying Touch, that was the source ability of Beast, if I'm not wrong, and it's a Geomancer spell, I think. It deals physical or earth damage. It's a touch spell, so it's melee range, and it can petrify a target if it doesn't have magical armor. Yeah, I mean, could be interesting for a Geomancer build that does melee damage. Yeah, maybe. Could work. Sucker Punch is the ability you gain if you use a one-handed weapon and nothing else. If you just use one-handed weapon, you get the Sucker Punch ability, I believe. And it can knock down an enemy if he doesn't have physical armor. I mean, the knockdown is nice, but I don't think... I mean, Sucker Punch is used to knock down, not to deal damage. So damage increases by 10%, but that won't change much. And I think you lose way too much damage by just using one-handed weapon, or defense by not using a shield, for example. So I don't think a one-handed weapon and nothing else build is viable. And certainly a 10% damage increase in Sucker Punch, that won't change it. Don't take my word for it, but I would not consider such a build. Mosquito Swarm cooldown. Yeah, well, that's a Necro spell, I believe. Yeah, it steals life, deals physical damage. Okay, I guess if you wanted to build in this direction, like some magic caster that deals physical damage, maybe. I don't know. Infect also. Door to Eternity, I don't even know what that is. No. No idea. Let's move on. Increased source point cost of Overpower. Overpower was incorrectly underpriced. Yeah, it only costed 1 source point, if I recall correctly. And like I said, it's an immensely powerful spell. So increasing the source points of that is a good idea, I guess. But yeah, like you saw in my playthrough, I didn't really use any source spells at all. Overpower was the only one I would even consider, really. I don't know if they have increased it to 2 or 3 source points. Whatever. Next up, we have made AI more likely to attack players that have damage reflection. It was still too hard to get AI to attack characters with reflection, which made it an aggro-reducing stat instead of an offensive one. So we are now making this type of enemy more interesting to the AI. I bet there are some crazy builds out there that focus on damage reflection and deal all of that damage through damage reflection, and it's like super sick or something. I don't know. I'm not really into watching Divinity Origin Sin videos. There are billions, okay, not billions, but dozens, hundreds of videos on YouTube on builds for Divinity, and I'm sure there's one that uses damage reflection, and now there will probably be more. Sure, if you want to do that, then go ahead. I don't think I'm ever going to use any build like that. Lastly, we have high quality ones create surfaces. High quality ones didn't create surfaces anymore, and there was a mistake. They totally should. Okay, I didn't even know. So high quality ones now create surfaces. So, nice to know. Now, next up we have, that's all the balance changes. And they're all nice. But I think the biggest one is the Lone Wolf change. That really completely changes the way Lone Wolves play. And I think it makes Lone Wolf playthroughs a lot harder. It may be even harder than going with a standard 4-player party. Next up we have some difficulty changes and a new difficulty mode for players who thought that the easiest difficulty, which was Explorer mode, for players who thought Explorer mode was too hard, they have now introduced the Story mode, which is even easier than Explorer mode. Okay, I mean, sure, whatever. It's not for me. What they did, however, they referred to this in the changelogs as improved Hardcore mode. Now, you can see the different difficulties here. There's no freaking hardcore mode. What is hardcore mode referring to? Tactician mode? And story mode? No. The story mode is a new one. Tactician mode, I guess. Wait, did they remove honor mode? Wait. They removed honor mode. Ah, no. Yeah, you can change regular and honor. But yeah, I guess that signifies that honor mode is actually the same difficulty as tactician mode. You just get a game over screen once your party dies. Your save is gone, I mean. Whatever. Let's read this. Improved Hardcore mode. Hardcore players are assumed to always take advantage of crit, special, source point, combo skills, which grow in number and relative potency throughout the game. This means that relative player power steadily grows with each act, and we cannot use a single multiplier for enemies of all acts in Hardcore. But in Vanilla, that is what we did. We changed that in Definitive Edition. On Vanilla and Hardcore mode, the nominal enemy effective defense is 4 points. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm not going to read that. Point is, I guess they refer to Tactician mode as Hardcore mode. I'm not 100% sure, but nothing else would make sense, right? What is Hardcore mode? It's probably the hardest game mode, right? And that's Tactician mode. Anyway, what they did in the classic game was they just put some generic constant modifier on the enemies. Like they got twice the armor and twice the damage throughout the game. That was obviously a bad idea because it made the early game much harder than it made the end game. Just due to the fact that if you level up, get more spells, get better gear, there's synergy between those things. Like, for example, those multiplicative modifiers with warfare, they got stronger and stronger the more you had. It was not a linear relationship. So, of course, you should make the enemies in the early game, you should buff them only slightly, and the enemies in the late game, you should buff them much more. So, yeah, they are doing that now. And I think that's a very good change. I hope I hope it's referring to the tactician mode, but like I said, just say it's hardcore mode. Whatever. There's a new tutorial, new arena levels, and there are no new fights. I will not read those fights, because if you want me to start a definitive edition run, yeah, I'm not going to spoil it if you don't want it. If you don't want it spoiled. So yeah, if you are curious what fights are new, I think there are 9 new fights throughout the game. Most of them are in the last chapter in Arcs. Then you can read the changelog. Also, story dialogues and scripting has changed dramatically. There is like I said, up to page 40, it is just the changes I refer to. And from 14 to 52, like 40 pages of the changelog are just about story, dialogue, and scripting changes. And I haven't even read all of them. So, yeah, that is pretty much it. Biggest change was to Lone Wolf. And if you want to check it out, link is in the description. Now, let's start a game here where, whatever, let's start a honor mode game, yeah, whatever. Yeah, honor mode, blah, blah, blah. Let's read that. Are you sure you want to start a game in honor mode? You can only have one honor mode save game per profile. When a party member dies, your honor mode save game will be over. Wait, what? When a party member dies? Oh, right, the save game will be overwritten. When all party members die, your honor mode save game will be deleted. You can change this. So you could actually load a previous save game before one of your party member dies. I think the music is too loud, right? One more thing that annoyed me when I started the definitive edition, it's that they... Shut up. Is that they actually... reset all the options. I had to do all the sound settings again, and I think they are bad now. We'll have to figure that out for the recording, because nothing is worse than bad audio settings for recordings. Anyway, yeah, let's just start a game and check out the interface, shall we? Yeah.
So,
blah, 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 blah. Stop talking. Wait a second. That's new, right? I think that was new. She used to stand here and do nothing, and we were released.
Wait a week. Wooden boards and iron shackles. The Divine Order's hospitality leaves much to be desired indeed.
Okay, I think the sound of the voice is okay. If you want me to change it, then write that also in the comments, please. Wait, this looks differently. Right, they added a whole new layer to the ship, like this one, I guess, for tutorial purposes. So this whole level of the ship is new. Interesting, very interesting. Ship. Okay, but let's check out the menus. Yeah, the inventory looks the same, my friends. I think they only changed it for console edition, which is weird. Was there even a console edition before this? I don't know. Anyway, does that look new? It kind of looks new, right? The icons are new. I can't even recall how it looked before, but you've seen it last episode, I guess. So you tell me. Right, what else is new? That is unchanged. And then there are no new towns. But let's check out Tochra. Oh, it all looks... Oh, look, all the totems are much nicer. With Tochra, certain status caused by you are no longer blocked by magic physical armor. Oh, it's a lot more than just burning, poison, and bleeding. It's necrofire, acid, suffocating, entangled, death wish, and ruptured tendons. Which is good, actually. Ruptured tendons is, I believe, is slow. But other than that, they are all just damaging effects. So there is no crowd control effect that you can apply with Tochra through magic, which is a bit sad, but I think necessary for balancing. So yeah, Tochra has become a lot more interesting. And I like all of these new icons. They look really fancy. Text, yeah, blah blah blah. It's all the same. What else do we have? That... Does it look differently? No, right? Or maybe? I'm not sure. I think it looks the same. Crafting is the same too, I think. Yeah, it looks the same. What is that? The map? Is it bigger or is... I think it's the same too. And the job... That is new, right? Or is it? We have no quests at all. Tutorials. We have no quests. What is this? On map? What? Is this buggy? There's a button which says nothing. And I don't have any quests. The game starts and I don't have any quests. But there's something on the minimap. What is that? Let's open the map. What does that say? Ladder. Ah, interesting. So we have new stuff on the map. Okay. What else is there? Toggle actions. Yeah, okay, that's yeah. Okay, so the interface hasn't really changed much in the PC edition. But as you can see, the game has a lot. Yeah, that's it then. So, please tell me in the comment section if you want me to start a new game right away, or if you want me to continue and finish the old game in the classic edition first. I definitely want to start a new game. Also, please tell me if I start a new game in the definitive edition, if you want me to play with Lone Wolf again, or if you want me to play with a normal 4-party player composition, or, and here's a new thing, if you want me to play with mods, which I haven't done actually so far. There are some mods out there that actually give you 6-player party, which means I could play with all of the NPC companions. That might be interesting too. I would have to use some difficulty mods too to make the game a bit harder if I were to play with 6 companions, 6-party player party, whatever. But that's an option too. So please tell me if you want if you want me to continue the old classic playthrough. If I did, I would be using some mods to increase the difficulty. Or 2, if you want me to start a new definitive run right away with a normal 4-player party without mods. Or if you want me 3 to start a new definitive edition run through with mods and a 6-player party. So tell me, I will wait a few days before I will start recording. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to playing the definitive edition, even though it does bug me a lot that the saves are incompatible. That is a real turn down. But oh well, guess there's nothing to be done about it. Anyway, write down in the comment section, and thanks for watching, and see you next time.